Ever since the dawn of humankind, we have sought the origins of our life and its purpose. Some have chosen to look to science, religion, or philosophy for answers. Many have turned to the great masters, such as Lao Tzu, the Buddha, and Jesus Christ for spiritual illumination. Still others have sought truth through their own direct experience. All of us are searching, knowingly or unknowingly, for enlightenment, truth, and harmony in our lives. This program, hosted by Dr. Gregory Penn, will help you aspire to a more fulfilling and rewarding life.
Every day we take a step, we understand. The closer that we get, we'll find in who we are. We choose between the left and right, the ups and downs, the darkness or the light. We'll find in who we are. There's so many roads and rivers that run through this mystery. We're finding our way together, just you and me. Aspire. We can be everything. Aspire. We ever wanted to be. Aspire. Keep moving on and on. Higher and higher. Until we finally sing. 'Cause when we seek, we find the answers. Life's a dance and we're all dancers. Aspire. And just believe. We can be everything. Aspire.
Welcome to Aspire. We want you to know that this program is dedicated to the highest sense of your own self. We're not here to try to convert you into any kind of religious belief, and we're not here to change any of your ideas about life or whatever. We're here to offer you some inspiration and some insight into yourself. And if you choose to make some changes after that, well, that's up to you. We're just here to offer you some insight into yourself, into your higher potentials, into a lot of things that life is meant to be. You know, we live in a very goal-oriented society. We live with the idea that it is money and possessions and things that make our life very important. And because we live in such a goal-oriented society, we often find it very difficult to attune ourselves to spiritual inspiration or to some spiritual insight. We're very interested in how we can make more money and do more things with our physical life. And yet I tell you, the most important thing in our life is not the things that we do and not the things that we accomplish in the physical, but in the things that we become aware of within ourselves. There was once a Zen master who had invited to his monastery a man who was a well-known scholar. And this scholar wanted to know about Zen and practice the way of insight, practice the way of enlightenment. And as he sat there with his master, so to speak, he talked about everything that he believed in. All the philosophical ideas he had, all the religious ideas he had, all the practical ideas he had. And as he talked on and on, the master just listened and listened. And there was a cup of tea there and a teapot. And he took the teapot and he poured it into the cup as the man talked. And he went on and on and on. And the more the man talked, the more the master poured the tea into the cup. And finally the man says, you're spilling it all over the floor. And the master said, that's the way you are doing it. You are spilling all over the floor. How can I reach you? How can I teach you when you don't begin with an empty cup? I need an empty cup to work with. And that's a lot of what we're about. We're so full of our ideas of what is right and wrong, what is good and bad, what our life should be and shouldn't be, that we miss the point of life. The point of life is something very spiritual. We are very spiritual beings, all of us. You are a spiritual being. And to affirm that or to pretend like you are one isn't going to help. The only thing that we need to do is to work from it or to live from it. Spiritual awakening is an occurrence that happens deep within the soul of us. It is not something that we can memorize, and to be honest with you, it's really not something that can ever be taught. It's something that is realized internally. There are some problems we have with realizing the sense of our deeper purposes in life. There is one thing that all great masters have given to us. We've had many masters come to this planet. A master is someone who has achieved a sense of their own spirituality, has mastered their own self. A person who is not a slave to their ambitions, a person who is not a slave to their desires, to their body, to the whims of the world, but rather has found a peace and a serenity so deep within them that they are able to live their life in peace and serenity. They have mastered the elements of themselves. And every single master that we have ever had, that has ever come to this planet to teach us and to be kind enough to teach us, has taught us one basic thing, and that is that desire creates suffering. Ambition creates suffering. Now, I know that this is not a very popular idea in the Western world. And I also realize that we have done a lot of studies on stress, and we all know that stress reduces our health and causes problems in our body, but that's just the surface. It's not the stress itself, but what causes it. That ambition and that desire to always have more. We've been taught to have more is to be more. And that's where we are wrong. You are enough. You are enough just as you are. The key is, do you recognize that you are enough? Jesus gave us a very definite teaching on this. It is not a popular one, and as I give this teaching to you, I'm sure that you're going to go, ugh, I don't like that. That's not what I had in mind. But nevertheless, though it goes against the grain of everything that we have been taught, it's true. He said, and this was given to us on the Mount, take no thought for your life. What you shall eat, what you shall drink, or what you shall put on. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom of heaven. Fear not, little flock, he said. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. He wasn't talking about the idea of having more. He was saying, become more within yourself. Aspire to the things that really mean something in your life, and you will have the good things in life. You can have the money, you can have the car, you can have good health, you can have good relationships. But first, find yourself. We need to aspire, but not to desire so much. The word aspire means, believe it or not, to breathe the breath of life, to feel a sense of tranquility, or to bring ourselves to our natural state. That's Webster's definition of it. It's a marvelous definition. It's a beautiful concept. We are enough. We are enough to bring forth life. We are enough to bring forth health. We are enough to bring forth prosperity. But we must do something, as the Master told us, to fear not. And our greatest problem seems to be in fear. We fear the idea that we won't have enough. I want to give you a basic premise to work from. It is a simple one, and yet it is very difficult. I say simple in context, simple to talk about, but often difficult to work with. There is one major stumbling point that we all have in our life. And if we get over this stumbling point, we will find ourselves not in desire, but to aspire to the heights of ourselves. We have one major block between ourselves and our good. It is called belief. We have too many beliefs. We have a belief in what is right and wrong. We have a belief in what is good and bad. We have a belief in what is a proper life and what is not a proper life. And with all of these beliefs that we have, we alienate ourselves from our potentials. Have you ever once thought that the belief that you have, whatever it is, even if you think it's good, is keeping you from something that you have yet to discover about yourself? Something that could be good, something that could be rewarding, something that would be fulfilling? We have religious beliefs. We have all sorts of beliefs. And I'm saying to you, when you have the courage to drop your beliefs and to experience life, that's when we come into something that we call faith. Now, faith is a very different experience than belief. Faith is a direct experience. If I have a direct experience with God, I don't have a belief, I have a direct experience. It's something that is real. I like Webster's dictionary definition of belief. It is very conclusive, brings about great insight. It says a mental habit or a mental acceptance of a concept that is not necessarily proven, not necessarily proved, but accepted by the believer. That means you and I can believe in anything. It's a habit of mind. It means I'm subject to my mind's whims. I'm subject to my mind's desires. And a belief doesn't necessarily have to be true. It can just be something that I've accepted. Many people have many different beliefs about God, about what life should be, and that has kept us from finding out what God really is. I can give you definitions of God. It will do you no good. I'd rather give you an insight. Life is a spiritual pathway. It is an inward path, and it is discovered by each and every one of us in our own way. And we have to work from it in that light. I want to end with this little story about a man who lived in a monastery for many years, and he had not gained any enlightenment through his Zen practice and his meditation. So after many, many years of seemingly failing, he left the monastery in the depth of the night, feeling very bad about himself. He walked out into the woods, and there was this great big, huge, beautiful pond there, and he sat by the pond and put his hands down. He found a bag full of rocks. And in his sadness, he felt the smoothness of the stones, and he decided to take the stones out and throw them across the water. And he liked to listen to the water, and the stone hit the water and plunk into the water. He did this all night. Finally, in the morning, his fellow monks found out that he was gone and went looking for him. They found him by this pool, and there he was sitting, crying, but totally enlightened. Sobbing, but totally enlightened, right where he wanted to be. And they said, "What happened to you, brother? Why are you here? Why did you go away?" He said, "For many years I've studied the pathway and the way, and I never got anywhere. Last night I decided I would run and escape, and I sat here and I've been throwing these rocks into the water all night. And at sunrise I found out they weren't rocks at all, that they were diamonds. And I only have one diamond left." And that is our story. We have one diamond left, and that is our own life right now. If we squander it on desire, if we squander it on objects or things, we waste our life. If we squander it on beliefs and attitudes that negate our happiness and our fulfillment, we waste our life. It is time not to be so religious. It's time to aspire to our spiritual nature, our spiritual heart, and allow ourselves to fly into the vast potential that we have yet to discover about ourselves. We're about to work on something very unique in our life. We're about to work on our own living and make it a meaningful expression of life. And now is the time to seize that life. We have something very special that we want to share with you at this moment. We are going to aspire to the greatness of a song that, well, I personally feel has a great deal of spiritual merit. It's called "In America." It's sung by Leslie and Kelly, who wrote and sing the music to Aspire. We hope you enjoy it as an inspirational idea that there is nothing in life better than that of living from the heart and loving. Aspire.
From New York City to the barrio, when East LA.
Well, after that exciting video, we have with us as our guests Leslie and Kelly, who were the stars of that video, and we're very pleased to have them. They also wrote the music to Aspire, our television program, and both of you, I want to thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. This is Kelly, and this is Leslie, for those of you who are looking in. Both of you have had a very unusual career. You sang with John Ford Coley, England Dan. Then you went alone with John Ford Coley, who we've had on the program.
Yes.
And you've gone to Germany recently, and you've got a release there, a record. You're doing very well, but those are not really the questions I want to ask you. You guys, at a certain period in your unfoldment, obviously decided to do spiritual music. I love your cassette tape, We Are One. I honestly play it a dozen times a day. It is one of the most beautiful tapes I have. Unity Dance and all the things that you did are very spiritual. There was a time where you had the opportunity to go out and make the big bucks, so to speak, and do the regular stuff. What happened? What was the turning point?
Nothing. Nothing really happened. I mean, we're still doing that. We've been working toward that, not getting the big bucks, but we've been working towards bettering ourselves as writers and entertainers, and working toward bettering yourself as an artist, because that's our career. The only thing is that is different is our writing has progressed, and Kelly and I have grown up. You know, it's been 10 years since we've been doing what we've been doing. We won't tell you how old we are. But we've just progressed in some of the beliefs that we have in our life about bringing people together and loving one another, and these kind of messages we've just decided to incorporate things we believe in our songs.
Because we never wanted to compromise, to have a hit record, to compromise the things we believed in. So we said, let's be ourselves and say what it is. And because we've been doing that, people have really been drawn to our music more because they know who we are and they believe it.
You know, I was playing some of your music to a friend of mine at another company, I will say, who does video, and they knew just exactly who you were, and they complimented you greatly because of the message that you guys do on your music, which is, well, what are you trying to get across to us through your music? I think I hear it, but maybe our audience wouldn't necessarily know, not maybe hearing it. What is different about your music?
Well, I think one of the main things is that we don't really try to change people's minds or make them believe something. We try and be positive and be happy, even if it's in a love song. That if there's a disunity between a couple and you're talking about a heartbreak, that in the end it comes out to be something positive, and it's not always this negative thing, because there's so much negativity in the world and breakups and things, that we try and be happy, although it's nice to talk about, you know, feeling things and heartbreak things, but we always try and stay positive and up, and I think that's mainly it, is the positiveness.
Yeah, and we also feel that music is really a universal language, like one of our songs, and we've found traveling, even if people don't speak your language, they always understand through the music. It just touches the heart. So Leslie and I really feel that through our music, we can reach the hearts of people and help bring people together, because we believe that the earth is one country and all of mankind are its citizens, and we believe strongly that we are all world citizens, and that this message for us is just very important, and we really hope through our music to bring about world peace, or to help bring about world peace in any way we can.
And I think it's been our goal to do that, so that there's just the world, you know, there's so many things. We don't place so much importance on just, the record deal and being famous, because we know that that's a temporary thing, and someone new's going to come and take your place and other times. So my mom, who manages us, always said, be happy with what you're doing. Be happy even if you're singing in the park. Love what you're doing, and don't always wait for that big record deal, that big gold record. You know, be happy and love what you're doing and work at your profession. And then, you know, then you can shop your songs and be in the professional world, and it will happen if you're persistent.
So in other words, what you're saying is you're incorporating the things that you basically believe in as a way of life, and even into your relationships with your business and your creativity.
Yes,
with everything.
It all goes together.
Hand in hand.
You guys have been to Germany, and you saw people different than ourselves, obviously.
Very.
How did they respond to your music, and what do you see? Is world peace possible?
Definitely.
Yes.
In what way? What things do you feel we need to do to create that harmony between all of us?
I feel that we all need to, within ourselves, work on our own hearts We wrote a song called Love Has Got to Start With Us, Love is in Our Hearts, Love is Everywhere. The minute you start changing your own heart, it affects the people around you, your family, and if your family's affected, could you imagine if all the families in the world were living like this, we'd have world peace without doing anything, because it would be from with you to the family to the nation.
So although the culture is different, people are people. People have the same problems as everybody else in the world. We're all people. And so you really see there is no difference. There's cultural differences. There's language, language barrier. That's why we wrote Universal Language. We need
I love that
one
one.
auxiliary language which we can, I have a feeling maybe it's English because everywhere we've been going around the world, English is being spoken everywhere. And because of the miscommunication that goes on sometimes causes disunity. So if we could break through some of those walls, we see that we're all one, and there's really no difference.
We just saw the video with In America. Tell us a little bit about how did that unfold? What was that all about? That's a very interesting video.
The writing the song?
Yes, the writing. Why did you create that?
We wanted to write a song about In America. It just,
Leslie had that line one day. She said,
Yeah.
I have to write a song about America, in America. So we went and called John Ford Coley up,
Yes.
sat in his room with the piano, and it came just like that. It started unfolding into the youth of America.
It does. It's very youth-oriented, let's face it.
And we
isn't it?
felt that the youth here are reaching out. They're reaching out for something. And they're getting caught up in the latest kind of craze. That was the thing. And they don't realize that they themselves are unique. They have to, again, look within themselves. They all have their own, everyone in the world has their own unique gifts and talents that just need to be developed. And if they would just look within themselves, they have their own fads, their own styles, their own ideas. They all have something unique to offer. And so we thought that that's what we wanted to write about. And it was interesting, when we got to Germany, the youth there were saying, why did you write this about the youth in America? But it really was written about the youth all over the world, coming together.
I feel a compassion in your music. It's so accepting. When I watch the video, I always get a kick out of how accepting it is. You seem to accept us all nationalities. We open up with that girl from Thailand, which is so beautiful. I just died when I saw that inside. I thought, that's just so beautiful, so artistic, and so open and free. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this. I got to ask you this. It's a no ego thing here, but I want to know about the writing of Aspire. I haven't seen you two since you wrote Aspire. How did it go? It went real well. In a minute, which we have left.
I don't really know. It just was
It flowed.
inspired.
Yeah, it was. You did a beautiful
It
job.
was. We were trying to get that. The words really say it. Every day we take a step.
Yeah.
We understand the closer that we get, we're finding who we are. That every day is a learning experience. You never stop learning. You never stop finding out. Every day is a challenge. Every test that we go through in life, the downs, the ups, it's all so that we can change our way of dealing with each other, learn to love each other unconditionally, and get through all the barriers and things. And that it's an ever advancing growth period. It never stops. You never retire from learning and getting to know yourself. You always find out new things about yourself, and I think that's what Aspire was.
I want to thank you both for writing Aspire.
Thank you.
It meant a lot to me, and I hope it means a lot to everyone who hears it. And I'm very honored that you were with us and let us do your video.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thanks a lot.
And thank you all for watching.